Now deep in the Shadowfell, the Ring of Peace sneak up a hill where the Harvester is performing his ritual to bring back the evil Lich Sohzu. As they view the encampment of both living and dead cultists helping the Harvester, it's clear to the group that they'll need to split up to achieve their objectives. Far to their left, they see a badly beaten Lenira Goldenwood, caged and protected by a chain devil and its hellhound pets. On the opposite side, they see a tower of glowing green filled with necrotic energy that must be the Soul Harvester battery. And higher above, at the crest of the hill, is the Harvester himself, with its ghostly back to them as he performs his ritual in front of a teleportation gate. Eatmos and Damon head directly to the battery. Eatmos casts a spell that makes him faster, but noisier at the same time. The camp is alerted to their presence as he reaches the battery. However, that allows the second group to get closer to Lenira since the cultists are now distracted. Mudgraw casts Pass Without a Trace on the others as they head towards Lenira's cage. They have to face a pack of hellhounds and a chained devil. Hart notices all the living cultists are chanting around strange obelisks that look as if they've impacted the ground from a great distance. They're glowing green just like the battery. She charges straight for the nearest one and strikes it over and over again with her flail, though she's quickly surrounded by cultists. Mudgraw stays where he's at to start casting spells, while Flare jumps into the fray and Malice runs straight towards the chain devil. Near the battery, Damon has taken on most of the undead cultists who are sucking the life force out of him. His distraction, though, is giving Eatmos the time to understand the battery's controls. It's a complex system that keeps changing the way it operates as Eatmos is trying to learn. He's slowly able to start expelling the energy out of the battery, though. And up on the highest part of the hill, the Harvester senses a drop in the battery's levels. Stopping his process only briefly, he drops a statue on the ground that forms into a mist, and Cinta, Lenira's magical mount, appears and goes straight towards Damon to attack him. His odds are now overwhelming. Back by the cage, Flare and Hart are able to dispatch the hellhounds, but Hart is surrounded by living cultists once she destroys the final obelisk. In desperate need, she's suddenly encased in a wall of thorns that grow up from the ground. Mudgraw's spellcasting is clutch as he nearly kills all the cultists in one attack. Malice is wrapped up in magical chains while climbing towards the devil. After taking some damage, though, he's able to misty step out of the trap and makes it to the floating boulders above to battle the chain devil. Noticing the chain traps, Flare looks for another way up to Lenira, who is starting to bleed out from all of her injuries. Eatmos is able to drain the battery all the way down to 71% capacity. He sees cultists closing in on his position and knows that Damon can't keep up the distraction for long. He uses Phase Step and a Chardalon Stride to get onto the floating boulders towards the Harvester also. Circumstances look dire for the group when reinforcements arrive. The champion of the Raven Queen flies straight towards Cinta, distracting it from tearing up Damon, while a group of Shatterkai, loyal to their sister Lenira, begin making short work of the cultists on the battlefield. Malice is locked in a fight with the Chain Devil as Flare cleverly climbs up a hanging chain to get to Lenira's cage. She force feeds her a healing potion to stabilize her and does her best to wake her up while opening the locks on the cage with her chime of opening. With Mudgraw and Hart having eliminated all the cultists around them, Blinky teleports Hart up to the Chain Devil with her flail already swinging. With sheer force, she knocks the devil off the floating boulders, giving Lenira the time needed to recuperate. Lenira wobbles unsteadily out of the cage with the help of Flare, and shouts out to Cinta to fight the Harvester's control. Cinta struggles to remember her longtime companion and fight a direct command from the being that summoned her. With all her mental effort, she does the one thing she can to turn the tide. She dissipates back into mist and back into her statue. Now free to help, The champion of the Raven Queen heals Daemon and Deepmost while helping to destroy the undead cultists. The Shadowkai are easily picking off the rest as they head up the hill. Deepmost finishes off the last cultist in his way as well and sees an open path to the Harvester. With brutal force, Flare and Heart lay waste to the Chain Devil, with Heart landing the final blow. Malice casts his eye towards the purple orb spinning in place above the Harvester. He's barely able to Misty Step onto the hill as he desperately runs to stop the summoning of Sohzu. Flare and Heart follow, and Mudgraw summons Ubo to teleport him closer as well. Everyone is headed straight towards that Harvester. Deepmost, Mudgraw, and Malice make the top of the hill as a portal is starting to open. Tendrils of necrotic energy is spilling out as the Harvester has completed his ritual to bring back Sohzu. Malice climbs to the top of the portal and leaps across, trying desperately to grab the orb in midair. Just as he reaches it, the orb shatters, creating a shockwave of energy, knocking him over the portal and dealing major damage to the Harvester, and unfortunately knocking Mudgraw off the edge. All motion stops, but they're still able to bear witness to the coming of Sohzu the Vengeful. The tendrils lift him up out of the portal. He congratulates the Harvester on his good work, who then asks for help in defeating the heroes of Falador. Sohzu scans the battlefield and sees the tampering Deepmost did to the Soul Harvester battery and scowls. He tells the Harvester that he failed, and because of that, his fate will be his own making today. At that point, the champion of the Raven Queen bursts through the magical hold in a display of divine power. He invokes the name of the Goddess of Death as he flies with all speed towards the Lich, and with the mere flick of the wrist and a murmur of hypocrite, Sohzu pulls all necrotic energy from him and his body disintegrates. The champion of the Raven Queen is no more. Sohzu tells the heroes that he will meet them on the material plane before opening a teleportation portal into a jungle setting and vanishes. With the hold spell gone, fighting commences in all earnest. Lenira and the Shadowkai cry out for their champion. The Harvester dishes out major damage to all around him multiple times, with most of the heroes nearing death. But the combined efforts of the Ring of Peace and all their friends prove too much for the spirit, whose plots led them throughout Falador, the Feywild, and the Shadowfell. He pays for the thousands of deaths that he caused with his own destruction. The Harvester is no more. Taking a moment to breathe, the Ring of Peace know that they have a long road home to contemplate what happens next with Sohzu now in Falador. Mudgraw works on healing the group as they decide to travel first to the city of Gloomrot to rest before they travel home.